The Surgeon of Death, Trafalgar D. Waterlaw, and Eustace Captain Kidd. These two were the, in quotations, rivals of Luffy during Wano. Heavy emphasis on in quotations. During Wano, we see these two do massive things in the story, and in today's video, we'll be tackling a topic that needs to be addressed. What's up guys, Gamblrr here, and in today's video, we're going over the performance of Kidd and Law during the raid of Onigashima. I will outline why this has to be talked about in a second, but before we start the video, let's make a deal. If you enjoy it, go ahead and subscribe. You get more videos and we'll both be happy. There has always been an assumption that one of these characters carried the other during the fight against Big Mom. After rereading the entire fight for my Law vs Zoro video, I realized that the things being claimed just weren't true. So what I'll be doing is going over the entire fight from start to end, not leaving any panels of interest unchecked, and coming up with the answer to the overall question. Did Law actually carry Kidd against Big Mom? Let's get into it. Our story starts in chapter 1009 when Kidd seals Zeus in a box. This was part of an overall plan to completely disarm Big Mom, because after it, Law teleports the box away from her, Zoro slices up Prometheus, and Killer takes away Napoleon. Big Mom, unaware of the overall plan, punches Kidd in the face, but Kidd repels her and Law uses tact to push her en route to sea. This plan failed because Zoro got critically injured just before, but this is where the conflict between Kidd and Big Mom began, as Kidd called dibs on her. Law though stays on the rooftop for the rest of chapter 1010 with his mouth open to cheerlead and watch Conqueror's Hockey users do their job. What a funny guy. Anyways, Luffy tells Law to go away with Zoro because he calls dibs on Kaido, and Law does just that, teleporting straight into the hands of Sanji. While this is all going on, Kidd has already taken an entire named attack to the face and is now in pursuit of Big Mom by himself. Finally, in chapter 1013, Kidd starts fighting Big Mom by himself, and 2 chapters later, Law comes asking for a team up to go against the Emperor together. This is truly where our story begins, but we have already seen Kidd willing to and literally fighting Big Mom by himself. But now let's get into what we actually see. In chapter 1022, Kidd starts taking damage from Hawkins' voodoo, being stabbed, and he literally gets tortured this way for 7 chapters off screen. It becomes so bad that in the middle of the battle he collapses, and we finally see the fight actually go on. Big Mom tries to attack Kidd while he's down, and as she charges up her attack, Law teleports in front of her and hits her with a counter shot. Big Mom says, when this happens, and the entire nature of the sequence was that she was attacked while not being focused on the attacker. We're gonna keep track of Law's off guard and on guard attacks, so we have one off guard attack to start. Big Mom of course takes damage from the attack, but immediately Prometheus hits Law in the air with him unable to react and teleport away. Big Mom recovers from the attack she received from Law and hits Kidd, who's still hurting in pain from Hawkins, with a named attack to the face. Kidd takes it well, and by the end of the chapter, Kidd is finally free from Hawkins' torture and the fight continues. The next chapter's fight starts immediately with Kidd being hit with Kaku's sovereignty head on, and right after, she attempts to follow up with another attack. While in the air, we get a short flashback to Kidd and Law discussing Devil Fruit awakenings, and they come to the conclusion that they need to use them because they're not getting anywhere fighting with their base Devil Fruits. We suddenly come back to the present and Law uses his awakening, coating his sword with chrome and stabbing Big Mom in the back while she's still focused on Kidd. This absolutely violated Big Mom, making her bleed for the first time, and Kidd follows up, assigning Big Mom and her homies more magnetism, leading to 2 entire structures crashing into her. This is Law's second attack on Big Mom, and it was off guard. She again was hit while she was completely focused on Kidd. On the other hand, this is Kidd's first attack on Big Mom, but the nature of it wasn't as on the nose as Law's was, because Kidd literally talks to Big Mom before attacking her. That's 1 on guard attack for Kidd and 2 off guard attacks for Law. In the next chapter, she gets up, powers up, and acknowledges both of them as actually being serious and trying to take their thrones, and she says she hasn't felt pain like that in decades. They square up to fight again, and they fight off screen for about 7 chapters, and we come back to them cooked on the floor. They were so cooked, their crewmates are asking for mercy as she tortures their already beaten up bodies, and she starts mocking them. She attacks the crewmates and finally turns around to make her way to the rooftop because she's certain Kaido hasn't won against Luffy just yet. But as soon as she's en route, Law doesn't even get a panel of getting up. He just suddenly uses his awakening again and stabs Big Mom through her arm and through her face. He uses Shock Willy again and does significant damage. Big Mom, now aware of everybody being up, takes the brunt force of Kid's attack completely on guard. Law's third attack on Big Mom is again completely off guard. She has her back turned towards him and was certain the two were defeated. Kid's second attack on the other hand was literally on guard. She acknowledges him, talks to him, and Kid rams into her. 2 on guard attacks for Kid and 3 off guard attacks for Law. In the next chapter, we finally get to the dialogue that I think deluded people into thinking Law hard carried Kid, so let's get into it with an open mind. Law calls out Kid for waiting for him to use his finisher, then swooping in right after to take the credit for himself. Law says he's not Kid's opening act. This is actually true. Out of the 3 attacks Law hit Big Mom with, 2 of them he hit her off guard and Kid would follow up with his own attack. The difference is, Law's attacks are, again, off guard, and as soon as he hits her, Big Mom is completely aware of Kid's presence. With the awakenings, she just couldn't escape the magnetism, and the second attack was literally head on. The funny thing about it is that out of the 3 attacks Law landed, he only did so because Big Mom was focused on Kid. So again, I don't know why this piece of dialogue is taken so seriously. In the next page, Big Mom acknowledges Law for his durability negation as the attack he landed broke her arm and ribs. This leads to her sacrificing years of her life to heal the wounds she gained from it, and says that Law's attacks are dangerous. This is clearly an indication that Kid's blunt force and weighted attacks aren't as effective on Big Mom as durability negation is. Law then tells Kid straight up that after his next round, he'll be completely out of strength, so he cannot miss. Big Mom destroys Kid's bow structure and starts telling Kid to stop deluding himself, that he and Law won't be here there. Then Kid literally jumps in front of Big Mom's face and assigns her to the structure behind her, pulling the bow structure from before towards her. Big Mom, acknowledging his threat, goes out of her way to literally move the entire tower backwards to block the attack. This has never happened before. Big Mom never attempts to block attacks head on, or at least never goes out of her way like this. I think we're forgetting that Big Mom's durability is her most insane aspect, and so for blunt force to actually scare her, you have to give Kid some credit. However, obviously, once again, Law's durability negation trumps it 10 out of 10 times. This technically counts as an attack. He assigned her on guard, but it didn't do any damage because she went out of her way to block the attack, so I won't actually put it on the board, but I will have you acknowledge it. Big Mom looks at Kid and literally creates a new named attack on the spot, using Misery, an attack that literally moves by itself and cooks Kid. Completely focused on Misery putting Kid in his place, Big Mom's hit with Tact and falls to the ground. A 4th attack and a 4th off guard point. Big Mom is again completely focused on Kid, with Kid even starting the attack, and Law of course hits her while she's not focused on him. While she tries to recover from the attack, one mind you he didn't do with his own body, he follows up with Kroom. Now this is an odd attack to put into a category. She's not necessarily off guard, but she's not focused on Law. She's on the floor holding her head and suddenly Law stabs her. That's definitely not a point on the other side. An attack like this would qualify for a point, but sadly Law just can't manage to do that, so that's a 5th point. Law's awakening extends his sword all the way through Big Mom, through onigashima, and through Bedrock, and he uses Shock Willy. One thing to note is that Big Mom starts punching Law, but she never uses Conquer's Haki. We all know why that is, but regardless, Law tanks all the attacks and uses his durability negation to cook Big Mom. Kid pulls up with his trump card, Damn Punk, and literally waits for Big Mom to acknowledge him before he shoots. Heck, she looks at him and talks to him, then gets hit with the attack. That's a clear on guard attack, so put that on the board for Kid. She does start laughing while it hits her, but as soon as Law silences her and cuts off her connection to Misery and her homies, Kid uses Damn Punk again, and it actually cooks Big Mom this time, sending her below the stage, then through all of onigashima with the bombs everywhere, and finally in the hole Law created with Kroom, setting off the final explosion and defeating Big Mom. I would say that's another on guard attack for Kid, as she'd literally being attacked by him right before, but again it's basically the same attack just reinforced, so I won't put it on the board. Now she swims in lava for the time being. I think she's actually dead, but who knows what Oda's cooking. By the end of the analysis, Law has hit Big Mom 5 times, and all 5 times it was off guard. The first attack was while Big Mom tried to hit Kid and Law hit her with a counter shock. There's no room for argument on that one, so we move on to the next. Big Mom is again about to hit Kid and Law hits Big Mom in the back with his awakening. Another off guard attack in the exact same manner as the first one, so let's get into the next attack. Big Mom turns around and tries to make her way to the rooftop after seemingly defeating both Kid and Law, but Law gets up suddenly and hits her with his awakening from behind. Any contentions? I didn't think so. Kid has Big Mom's full attention as he pummels him with misery, and suddenly Law drops a tower on her head, another clear off guard attack, and Law follows up the off guard attack that he dropped with another off guard attack, stabbing her with Krub and dealing massive damage. 5 attacks, and all 5 times were they off guard. Kid on the other hand attacks Big Mom 4 to 5 times, all of them being on guard, but only 3 to 4 actually landing. His first attack is the most contentious of them all, but he speaks to Big Mom before attacking, and it all chalks up to her being unable to escape the binds of magnetism. The second attack was as clear as day. Kid literally creates a bull, and Big Mom looks at him, acknowledges him, but still gets rammed into. His third attack didn't actually do any damage, but Kid jumps from his structure towards Big Mom, assigns her to a tower in front of her face, and Big Mom goes out of her way to break the structure and block. And finally, Kid lands a damn punk while Big Mom acknowledges the attack and literally challenges him head on. The fifth attack in question was another round of damn punk, but I personally just chalk it up to the first one. I think we can clearly see a difference between our two fighters here. Kid is a heads-on 1v1 fighter, while Law literally didn't land a single attack while Big Mom was on guard. It's so funny in fact that the anime literally had to create filler out of their ass to give Law an actual scene where he attacks Big Mom head on. Mind you, this is the same studio that has Zoro spearhead the attack on Big Mom, the same one who has Sanji do an entire combo on Queen and have him get up again, and the same ones who has Zoro land on the ground after defeating King, despite in the manga Zoro literally collapsing and getting knocked out. This is who you guys are using as a source. Now, regardless of Law being an off-guard sneak merchant, the point still stands that Law's attacks were a hell of a lot more effective than Kid's. Kid cannot take down Big Mom by himself because he doesn't have the lethality Law has. But Law cannot take down Big Mom by himself because he would shit his pants if he has to face her head on. So to answer the overall question of the video, did Law actually carry Kid against Big Mom? No. No, he did not. He brought the lethal attacks and Kid spearheaded the attacks. And even then, it's not like Kid was doing nothing. Big Mom acknowledged his attacks as well, but Law's were just better. So I never want to see such BS on Kid's name. This guy is literally a sneak merchant. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem arises when people try to use his feats during this fight to prove he can handle and win a fight against a 1v1 specialist like Zoro. Speaking of that, I've made that video a couple weeks ago, so go check it out if you haven't already. Anyways, what did you guys think? Will the cope continue? We'll find out soon. Do make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.